and now he's an angel in the outfield.
The Edgefield community is remembering 16-year-old Ryan White after he was killed in a car accident not too far from his high school.
Ryan went to Strom Thurmond High School, and as you can see, he loved baseball. He died yesterday from injuries he got in a crash Saturday night near Trenton.
Our Sydney Heiberger talks to his family and friends tonight as they remember him.
Well, Ryan's family and friends tell me he wasn't just a student and a baseball player. They say he was a giver. And even after his tragic death, they tell me he's found a way to do just that.
If he can't have his life, he can give somebody one.
A hero in life.
It didn't matter if he was in the classroom, if he was in the hallway, or if he was out on the field doing his thing. His smile was infectious.
And now a hero in death, donating his organs after a crash that left 16-year-old Ryan White dead.
I'll get to hear his heartbeat again. You know, that this gives me hope. He'll live on.
Tracy White says Ryan missed curfew January 9th. That's when she went looking and found his truck on the side of Egghouse Road.
I remember beating on the back of the car and saying, Ryan, Ryan, and you could hear him taking deep, gaspy breaths.
An entire community lighting candles, telling stories, honoring a boy who they say loved everyone.
If that wouldn't have happened, or we haven't, gotten to see that type of thing, there wouldn't have been as much peace in our heart.
The crowd, a testament to how his family says Ryan never made anyone feel alone.
He was a giver. He was a lover.
Once a center fielder, his mom says now he's an angel in the outfield. In Augusta, Sydney Heiberger, on your side.
Such strength in that family to be able to talk and share their story and share how he is going to live on in the lives that he saved.
We appreciate Tracy and Rachel for doing that, and yes, since he's an organ donor, he does live on now in many, many different ways that we can never even expect, of all the ripples that go out from Augusta because of that young man. He'll be honored this weekend. In fact, on Saturday, a memorial kickball game happening over there at the Strom Thurmond baseball fields where he spent so much time, a place where he loved to play. That's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, $10 to play. Also, a donation bucket there, and all the money they raise is going to go toward helping Ryan's family.
Cloud cover today did keep our temperatures on the chilly side. We were waiting that full forecast.
All right, thank you, Riley. We are just learning today at least some patrons will be allowed at the Masters this spring. Sports Director Mike Yakokonis is here to walk us through what we know. And Mike, the big question right now, do we have any idea who will be selected to go to the Masters in April?
That feels like the million-dollar question, Meredith. And badge holders are being told you'll know if you'll get to go by this coming Monday. If you're not selected this year, you'll get a refund and have a chance at the 2020 tournament. And Meredith, I'm just thinking back to November. It's incredible how Chairman Fred Ridley, 2 months ago yesterday, was talking about having patrons again at the Masters. And now today, we're learning that's actually going to be the case. But Ridley has not yet said exactly how many patrons will be there. In a statement, Ridley also announced that policies will be in place to help protect the health and safety of everyone attending in November. Some of those safety measures included hand sanitizing stations, mask requirements, pre-arrival COVID testings, daily health screenings, and a few other considerations. As we get closer to April, I'm sure we'll hear more from the National about how patrons will be allowed to view the tournament and what, if any, kind of player interaction they'll be allowed to have. Masters Week is still set for April 5th to the 11th. And Meredith, I'll also say this, not having patrons on the course, it really actually didn't hit me up until Sunday when we were all standing on the 18th green. I really was hoping that roar when DJ won it would be just a bit louder, but hey, come April, that's going to be the case now.
Yeah, and standing there as Tiger Woods, the defending champ after the greatest comeback in sports history, and just a couple of people, hardly any noise. It was strange. Something, though, to note, Chairman Ridley did talk about using other golf tournaments that had allowed at least some patrons.
That's right.
As an example, and that those were not considered super spreader events, and that kind of played into Augusta National's decision, of course, the safety measures and how other tournaments had been handling this.
And that's just about all we can ask for. And, I'm sure all of our local businesses as well, they'll be just as happy to have those patrons back so we can keep supporting Augusta and local businesses.
Sure, we'll take any number of patrons, any patrons at this point.
It is good news for people around the world, no doubt about that. Thanks, guys. Well, having some patrons will have a big impact on the tournament itself. because of those roars that we just mentioned. Also, our local business community as well. Will Rio live for us right there on Washington Road, right outside the gates of Augusta National. A lot of people have been anxiously awaiting this decision, Will.
Yeah, and anxiously awaiting is the right term for that for sure, Richard. And Masters Tournament last year looked a lot different than it will this year. And they're saying that since it looked different, they've been waiting for this announcement for a very long time. And by that, I mean local businesses. But there's been a question of whether we would get these answers. And today we finally got them. And some of our local businesses will finally get some of that relief after a very, very tough year. A historic Masters pushed to November with no patrons allowed for the first time since World War II. But this April, the club is letting in limited patrons.
This gives us a ray of hope, knowing that there's the possibility of at least having some expanded attendance at the Masters as compared to November.
The Augusta Visitors Bureau says it's a small step in the right direction.
We'd be excited to begin to see this tournament make its steps to get back to what we would consider normal.
Still, local health officials are cautious with surging COVID numbers, and they say there are simple steps like washing your hands, wearing a mask, and social distancing that will keep everyone safe. And businesses are thankful they will finally be getting some relief. In a statement, Augusta National says they will have similar guidelines as the November tournament, like temperature checks, social distancing, and mask wearing. And with the event being held outside and with vaccines on the way, it makes it easier to have patrons.
In the last year, it's 10 times harder than it was when I started out. I just don't think people realize what this has done to the restaurant and entertainment industry. You can't even wrap your brain around the magnitude of it.
And for local businesses, they say they're anxiously waiting for April.
This is at least some very exciting news on the front end, and we'll just be eagerly watching to see how this moves along.
And Augusta National says that they are working with ticket holders to give refunds to those who will not be invited to this year's tournament. Guys?
You know, since it's an outdoor event, the biggest challenge might be those gift shops, but we all know they moved all of that online in November, so we might see something like that happen again. Will Rio reporting there live from outside the gates of Augusta National, right there at Magnolia Lane. Some good news from the golf course today. Also this evening, Richmond County's runoff election.
45 deaths for the state. In South Carolina, 1,300 new cases. That's actually the fewest daily cases since November.
Hospitalization numbers are still high here at home as well. AU Health gains one more COVID patient from yesterday, setting their new record, 118. University Hospital also in the triple digits tonight, and Doctors Hospital gaining 6 more positive patients today. Well, it's day 2 of phase 1A+ vaccine rollout in Georgia. It includes first responders and people 65 and older. In South Carolina, Governor McMaster says starting tomorrow, anyone 70 and older can schedule an appointment to get a vaccine. Expansion is important because this is how many vaccines have been given out in Georgia and South Carolina. Hundreds of thousands. This is a big number, but only about 2% of each state's population.
There are so many reasons the vaccine hasn't been given to more people. Doses, of course, still very limited. And hospitals are actually losing money vaccinating people.
Brady Trapnell spoke with doctors about why this is happening and what's being done.
There's celebration, but still a harsh reality with each vaccination.
We need to reevaluate what is happening with vaccine distribution.
It's day 2 of phase 1A+ in Georgia, and both AU Health and University Hospital are not approved by the State Department of Health to be public vaccination sites, as our District Department of Health continues vaccinating those 65 and older.
Places that are being successful, we ought to build on that success.
The timeline isn't the only issue, it's the cost. Many providers aren't able to cover their costs to vaccinate.
Vaccines are provided to us for free, but the cost of administering the vaccine is not compensated in any way for us.
AU Health estimates it costs them $10,000 to $20,000 per day to run a vaccination clinic because of personnel, specialized storage, and computers. They say they aren't getting any federal funds through the state to help. And if you cross state lines to get vaccinated,
Insurers just refuse to pay that vaccination fee.
And across the state line, Aiken County is also trying to overcome its fair share of issues.
In Aiken County, we have a limited number of providers that are currently capable of or prepared to administer the vaccine.
Senator Tom Young got a call from Aiken Regional asking for help getting out Phase 1A.
And we expect that there'll be both public and private providers that will be stepping in to fill in the gap over the coming weeks.
He's even been in touch with the National Guard to ask them for help running vaccination clinics. And he's asked DHEC as of this morning to allow more providers.
So we obviously have to do a higher number than that statewide in order to get a large amount of the population vaccinated by the summer.
Some health officials argue rolling back state control would help. Reporting in Augusta, Brady Troutnell on your side.
And there's an easy way to find out where to get a vaccine. In Georgia, the Department of Public Health launched this online COVID vaccine locator. You can look up your county and it'll tell you which providers have the doses. In South Carolina, DHEC will also have a COVID vaccine locator on their website that launches tomorrow. And we've done a lot of the work for you. We have exactly what you need to know to get the vaccine on both sides of the river. It's all on our website. Just head that way and type in the word vaccine in the search bar.
The Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program has now been extended in South Carolina. That means if you've applied, you will start getting unemployment benefits soon. Georgia's Labor Department says they started paying people from the federal program last week. People in both states are also eligible to get $300 in benefits from the federal government.
South Carolina lawmakers back in Columbia today for the start of the 2021 legislature from Columbia.
Meanwhile, leaders in 2 counties meeting right now talking about what school will look like for your kids in the coming weeks. The Aiken County School Board meeting just got started about 15 minutes or so ago. They're presenting their back-to-school plan and giving a COVID update. We're listening in. Of course, we'll have the details for you tonight at 11.
The Columbia County School Board meeting right now, giving school year updates. They're also talking about a couple of other very big topics, building updates, including a new high school and the countywide preschool. They're also supposed to announce some finalists for school superintendent. Officials tell us Dr. Sandra Caraway's replacement will be named to the next board meeting that's coming up in 2 weeks. Dr. Caraway said back in September she'd be retiring at the end of this school year.
Columbia County asking for its own court system separate from Richmond County. Augusta leaders give us their take on it today. That's coming up in 1 minute.
The accident wasn't your fault, but calling an inexperienced company.
Columbia County wants to break off from the Augusta court system and have their own judicial circuit. And today, some Augusta leaders showed support for the idea.
But they have some requirements for Columbia County. Our Kennedy Harris walks us through what's next.
Legislation to split Columbia County from the Augusta Judicial Circuit could be presented to state leaders within the next few days. And today, Richmond County city leaders took the first step towards preparing for what might be in store if a split does happen.
It's something that another county wants, and we're going to honor and respect their wishes and give it a chance to recalibrate. They're going to have to recalibrate just like we are, so everybody's in the same position.
Tuesday, Augusta city leaders unanimously agreed to support Columbia County in their wish to split from the judicial circuit.
Our first step today was to draft a resolution.
City Administrator Odie Donald prepared a memo for commission, including some of the struggles the city may face during the process of separating.
Some of the challenges around budget and decision making. I think the other piece is, fleshing out what the caseloads really look like.
In Donald's memo, he found the cost of a split for Richmond County would be just less than $1 million. Also, Richmond County would need a 5th judge once 3 of the current circuit judges join Columbia County. He believes a little more time would make the process smoother.
But through those conversations with Columbia County, I would say their position is that, they are pushing to move forward with the split.
Commissioner Hassan hopes all 3 counties can work together through the process.
I've heard one say it can happen as late as July 1, but as early as May, and any time in between those two. So that's pretty fast for something of this magnitude. So obviously, I hope that gives a better incentive to work together to make sure everybody's whole.
And Commissioner Hassan says he expects Richmond County's resolution to be ratified next week. Reporting in Augusta, Kennedy Harris, on your side.
The commission did say they wanted to keep Burke and Richmond County together. They also want to get their hands on the county fiscal year report from the state, which would give them a detailed picture of how much a split would cost.
Time to check in now with Chief Meteorologist Riley Hales. We have
If you can't afford your medicine, AbbVie may be able to help.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, what are you waiting for?
Call George Sink Injury Lawyers at all nines now.
The sooner you call, the sooner they can help.
George Sink Injury Lawyers has the experience to help you get your money faster. If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call all nines.
The Live by Camera Network is brought to you by